So originally, it was intended you were going to get a traditional written review of Your Next, the 2013 home invasion film from Adam Wingard. But after watching last night's series finale of Dexter and a lot of sort of rumination on that, I decided to give that my written review instead. But you're still getting a nice little video review of the 2013 Adam Wingard film Your Next. Admittedly, not a huge fan of Adam Wingard's work. He's always had a lot of buzz about his material. He's sort of this group of filmmakers, horror filmmakers, that people really seem to enjoy, that people are really seeming to attach themselves to right now. And unfortunately, I'm just one of those guys that just don't get it. I like Ty West's House of the Devil, did not get Innkeepers, did not get the buzz around that film. And even though I will have to say I did really enjoy Your Next, I didn't come close to getting what I thought was the acclaim for A Horrible Way to Die. I just didn't get it. I'm pleasantly surprised, though, to say that despite not getting A Horrible Way to Die, and despite not really liking Adam Wingard's segments of VHS and VHS2, I really, really enjoyed Your Next. So if there is a buzz about Adam Wingard for whatever reason, okay, I sort of get it now, if he continues along the vein of this particular brand of filmmaking, because I really, really enjoyed Your Next, and I enjoyed it for a lot of reasons. A lot of it is because I do feel it has sort of a throwback to 80s horror here. There's a lot that I feel pays homage, both in the way that it's shot and also the film score. But I also like the fact that it does have a new horror feel to it, and it's not so much of an homage that we forget to do something new. And I think that that's one of the reasons I enjoyed it so much too, is that it does feel a little new. And I've always really liked the idea of taking a concept, especially a concept that right now has really been done to death, which is this concept of home invasion, and twisting it and turning it and sort of putting it on its head and doing something a little bit different with it. So Your Next actually follows a, a group of siblings getting together for the parents' wedding anniversary. We're given a little bit of a backstory that the father worked as a defense contractor, got a great deal of money, which does come into play later on in the film. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, very spoiler-heavy review coming at you right now. So if you decide that you're going to see it, or if you decide that you just really don't want any of these nice little twists ruined for you, really good time just to hit the stop button, maybe read my overly long written review of the Dexter series finale. Again, we're placed in a situation that's a fairly commonplace situation, pretty banal. This is just a meeting of siblings and a meeting of family for an anniversary. These are very, very plausible characters and a very plausible scenario to start out with. These aren't black ops, secret agents that have Navy SEAL training. This isn't a serial killer that out-thwarts his pursuers, and this isn't any of that. This big sort of, epic stories. This is a smaller story, and I think it works really, really well because we're dealing with a very finite cast, dealing with a small cast of regular sort of everyday actors. In fact, I believe that Adam Wingard actually casted Ty West, a contemporary director, to be one of the small cast of characters. And it really works. It works because we do feel as though we're a fly on the wall here. This isn't important conversation. It's important in the context of this is human conversation, and it's definitely important in that we get a feel for these very human characters. But this is siblings jabbing at each other, having small disputes and small disagreements. And it's all very, very believable. And I think that setting up the premise the way that they did and just having a sort of, buzz around the room and catch bits and pieces of conversation and get to know these characters a little bit just in their interaction was a really, really slick move on Wingard's part, and one that really pays off once the action takes off and the story really, really hits its momentum. Essentially, this whole thing busts open with a crossbow dart coming through the window and killing one of the girls in the family, her boyfriend. In fact, the character of Ty West. Again, spoilers here. Once this happens, it's basically a free-for-all. This idea of a wedding anniversary just turns into a survival contest. So we've got very believable characters in a very distressing situation. And I think that's always been the cornerstone of a really good horror film for me. If we can believe that these characters are in peril, that any of them could die at any moment, it's a little more believable. In fact, there's higher stakes then. You know, we don't know who we can attach ourselves to as far as the characters go, because they might not be around in the next 5 minutes. And they do a really good job of giving us that insecurity of not knowing that. It really, really plays well for the film. Well, wouldn't you know it, though, it just so happens that a member of this group has a very, very special skill set that puts her maybe a little bit above these sort of suburban terrorists. Because we don't really know the motive of these people. I mean, we know that they've probably been casing the place, that they've got a little bit of firepower behind them. They've got numbers. That's more than just one person, and we know this fairly early on. But what we don't know is one of the characters. In fact, I'm going to get her name for you. Sharni. Wow. I don't even really know if that's the way you pronounce her name or not. But she was actually in the Australian movie Bait. Looks like her name is Sharni Vinson. Sharni Vinson plays a character who, unbeknownst to the family and unbeknownst to her pursuers, spent a lifetime in a survivalist camp with her father. Yeah, she's got a bag of tricks. Sort of makes her a little harder to kill than the rest, and this does become a game of cat and mouse. And allowing these roles to sort of reverse themselves at times, and not knowing who's the cat and not who's the mouse, elevates this film to something a lot more entertaining than your typical home invasion movie. Plus, we get a lot of really nice gore along the way. I've got to hand it to a few of the films that I've seen recently. I just went back and revisited the Evil Dead remake, which really hard to get more blood in that as far as a modern theatrical released movie can go. The Maniac remake, not just being on remakes, but these are two that I've watched recently, who have been able to really insert some really solid sort of cringeworthy gore. So I have to also hand it to Your Next because we've got quite a few moments of that in there as well. I just want to say, go see Your Next. It's still in theaters right now. If you're going to give your money for a ticket, go see something that, by all rights, probably wouldn't be shown theatrically. This is a movie that felt to me like a movie that gains a lot of respect from word of mouth and, eventually hits a pretty good, home video circuit, and that's where it pretty much gets its money. But we can change that by going to the theater and buying a few tickets for this one, and it's definitely worth it. Like I said, it's a great cat and mouse game, a lot of twists, a lot of turns, a lot of good gore. I'm actually going to give this one 4 out of 5 hypos. Go see a well-directed movie that, again, pays homage to 80s horror without copying it blatantly, gives something a little bit new. Gives us some great practical effects in there, too, and a really good performance by not only Sharni Vinson, but always from A.J. Bowen. So go see Your Next. That's 4 out of 5 hypos. That is the Horror Fix video review.